Hi, this will be the third diabetes talk about what diabetes teaches us about our bodies. Yeah. So, what diabetes can teach us about our bodies? This is what I can think of lah. So, the food we eat, whatever we eat, last time I used to think it will come out in the urine or it come out in the feces, but actually it doesn't. Whatever we eat stays in the body, unless we burn it or we use it for normal body processes or for exercise. That means that there is a maximum that we can eat. Okay, whatever we eat cannot be too much. I used to think that when I see fat people, they eat too much, and this is partly true. Okay, it is partly true that so if we eat because if we eat more than what we need, the excess will turn into fat. About insulin. Insulin is produced when there are high nutrients in the blood after eating a meal. The purpose of insulin, the function of insulin is to facilitate storage and increase of usage by the cell. So when insulin binds to the muscle cell or whatever cell, then glucose can go in, maybe 10 to 20 times more glucose can go inside the cell. And also insulin helps the glucose or the protein to become muscle. So the opposite, so this insulin is only produced by mammals. Okay. So if we need insulin because it prevents our body from using up the glucose in our body too quickly. Okay. For example, because we are warm-blooded, so our body is constantly producing heat. If we don't have insulin, our body will quickly use up all the energy, use up all the glucose, and we will be very hot. Right? And then we got no more energy, and then we will die. Right? Our brain got no more glucose. So we need the insulin to regulate the rate of metabolism. But whereas we compare to cold-blooded reptiles, amphibians, fishes, they don't have to produce body heat. Okay, maybe a little bit lah, but not like warm-blooded mammals. So they don't need insulin lah. So this insulin is the function when our cells no longer respond to insulin, then we cannot metabolize the energy. So glucagon and fat, okay, is glucagon is something like the opposite of insulin. Glucagon is when there is low nutrients in the blood, then glucagon will come out. It will tell the fat and the protein, right? It will tell the body to make use of the fat and protein to produce energy, to produce glucose. So we see that fat, there is a purpose, right? We can see because sometimes we got no food to eat. Let's say we sleep at night 8 hours, and then we wake up morning, we didn't eat breakfast. So where do we get the energy from? Right? It is most likely from the fat lah, or maybe the glycogen first and then the fat. So but this fat is not meant to be long lasting. It's not meant for us to keep for 30 years, 50 years. You know, this fat is meant to be burned, like people in winter cold countries. Traditionally, maybe last time lah, 100 200 years ago, no heater, you go out, it's cold, so during winter, no food to eat, so every year the fat will recycle in the winter time, and then in the summer time, then you eat a lot, right? So there's a purpose for the fat. We are not meant to be fat all the time lah, cannot 365 days fat on lah. So if you look at the one example is the bear in Alaska, North Pole there, very cold but the bear can hibernate for 7 months, right? So every year they will hibernate 7 months, and then for the 5 months, then they will start to eat. They will accumulate a lot of fat, and another 7 months they will sleep in the cave. So this is the purpose of fat, right, and glucagon. So, and we can also learn about biochemistry lah, of metabolism, right? diabetes teaches us. This is biochemistry of metabolism basically means the chemical reactions that help you convert protein, fat, and glucose into energy, right? So in sports science, they have managed to find supplements like ketone bodies, creatinine, and alpha ketoglutarate (AKC) to improve the athlete's performance and recovery. So the science behind it is quite accurate lah. Otherwise, they cannot apply it into athletes, sportsmen's performance. Metabolism of fat, how come fat, protein, and carbohydrates can be turned into energy, right? Is because they follow the same pathway called the Krebs cycle. All of it cannot say will be lah, but it can be converted into pyruvate and acetyl-CoA. This acetyl-CoA will start the Krebs cycle. I think there are 9 steps in the Krebs cycle, and there are many enzymes. So it's a very complicated process to generate energy, and it's all automatic. So our bodies are special lah. Many things must happen lah before we can get protein into energy, or carbohydrates can be turned into glucose can be turned into energy. Okay, many things must happen. So fruits and vegetables, we also know that it is very important, okay? Not only for vitamins and minerals, but there are certain chemicals inside that scientists haven't really found out yet that help to improve sensitivity to insulin. They managed to find, I read, it's like 10 to 20% improvement in insulin sensitivity. So for example, humans, we evolved from monkeys, okay? According to the science, like if you look at the DNA, we are 99 point something% similar to chimpanzees DNA. So whatever the chimpanzee eat, like we should be eating the natural food lah, because we have been eating it for not only chimpanzees, but humans have been eating it for thousands of years. Fruits, vegetables, or maybe meat, but we certainly don't eat a lot of fried food, right? A lot of unnatural synthetic food, so much sugar, all these things, only started lately. So we have to be careful lah, not to go into this modern food. And for about body movement, you see why we eat to get energy, but why we want to have energy is so that we can move our body. All the organs, heart, liver, kidney, hands, legs, lungs, is to facilitate movement, correct or not? So every organ is there so that we can move, so that we are alive, not just alive like lying down in the bed, okay, but so that we can move, we got freedom. So and it's the opposite works. So the opposite reasoning is whenever we move, all the other organs are stimulated. So when I exercise, for example, the cells need oxygen, so the lungs work, right? The heart have to work, then the liver and kidney also have to work to convert energy, right? To the kidney have to remove the urea or uric acid out into the urine. The liver have to synthesize energy for me, right? For me to use. And then the sodium and potassium pumps are activated. The heart muscles start to pump. So just by exercising, I activate all the other systems in my body, right? So some people say the brain is more important than the body, because our thoughts, our knowledge is very important. Yeah. But don't forget, if your body is weak, your brain also will be weak. Okay, we've got one sign of diabetes is your brain will feel very tired. will feel very slow. So so solve the body first, then the brain will be functioning. But you see many people in an office job, they have no movement. They just sit down, play the keyboard, play the mouse, walk to the photostat machine, walk to other people's place to talk to them, you know. In the office not, of course if you are doing sales job, you will move but in a normal typical office job, so and then you have to drive, maybe 1 hour 2 hours a day driving, you're not exercising, you're not moving. So what is the point of working this kind of having this kind of lifestyle, you see? And you see, then we start to think, when I exercise, I don't earn any money, I don't generate anything, so can we say we don't want to exercise because I don't earn any money when I exercise? Why I waste 1 hour 2 hours to exercise? I can spend 1 2 hour, I can be earning money with that time. See, but we must still exercise, you see, because it's a design of our body. We are designed to have physical activity. So so in conclusion, you can email me if you have any question. I started exercising about 1.5 years ago, so I roughly know how to start small. Because you have to start small and then you grow. Okay, so exercise is very important, and having the right diet is also very important. So I can advise because I have read quite a lot of books and I have access to medical books, so I can advise, but don't ask me how to cure, what drugs to take, what drugs to stop taking, because I'm not a doctor. Okay, thank you.